Yes. So, see my boo-boo?
I was gonna ask you, did you get punched?
I did not get punched. I was, however, chasing a possum out of my chicken coop and hit the corner of the roof with my eye. I mean, the corner went like into my eyeball. I thought I was like, I'd really hurt myself, but I just have this um, black eye.
Yeah, it's like ever so slight. You can
Ever so slight.
barely see it. I'm like, is that what?
Yeah. It's like a couple of scratches and it's a little swollen and a little bruised. I'm hoping this is as bad as it gets. This is my possum chasing scar.
Oh my God.
That possum
I
got in the chicken coop. Crazy.
I hate possums, man. I think that they're so gross.
They are mean if they are cornered. They're mean, nasty critters. They got sharp little teeth. And they were definitely looking to make a meal out of part of my chicken.
Mm.
So I'm glad we thwarted it. I didn't realize it was so late at night. I always close my chicken coop like after dark, but before I go to bed. But we were up really late and I didn't realize it was so late. It was midnight. And we hear the chicken was, and Bert was like, there's a coyote in the backyard. So he goes running out the back door. And I'm like, you have to bring a bat or something. You just can't come upon a coyote. And I came out and I was like, there's nothing in the backyard. But the chickens were losing their mind. And I was like, something's in the coop. So I looked and there's like a little window and I didn't see anything. I was like, there's nothing in here. And then I looked around the corner in through, they have like a window and then they have a door and it was a possum. I was like, that dang possum got in there. He's going to eat my chicken. Sucker. Anyway.
You got it out.
Should we do an intro? Move on with our day. I still have 80 things to do today. You ready?
Yeah.
Well, today's a treat. Today, my guest is my mother-in-law, which is kind of cool. I mean, I love my mother-in-law. She's a great mother-in-law, but I think we had a good conversation. We talked a little bit about Bert, a little bit about the pandemic, about their bus ride cross country. And I don't know, it was a fun chit chat. Hope everybody likes it. I hope everybody likes it. Reminder to go to freewaters.com and buy some mechanics or machines. I think machines are almost out, but there's still quite a few mechanics left. Look at your machines. They look awesome.
I got my machines right here.
There they go. Freewaters.com. And I know that I have a link on my website. There is no promo code for the mechanics. Those were for flip-flops. So it doesn't work for the machine or the mechanics. So sorry. I'm sorry if that was misrepresented somehow. I've gotten a few emails going, the promo code is not working. There's no promo code for the machine and the mechanics. Not now, maybe later, but not yet. But yeah, on this episode, we talk about Karen's Sauvignon Blanc. It is so good. It's the Tierra Vino vineyard. And there's a link on my website on the tab that says link to great things to go to Karen's website and order wine. She ships all over the country. And her promo code is still good. I think it's 20% off. So you can definitely check that out if you're looking for Christmas gifts. Natalie B Designs still has a promo code on my website. Provide Skincare I've been using for months and months now. I absolutely love it. I think her promo code's expired, but you can definitely check out. It's my friend Christina Rumbly. You can go back and watch a couple episodes with her and see what her skincare line is about. What else can I talk about? I don't know. You can go to bertbertbert.com and buy some merch. I have some camper mugs left and a few sweatshirts. People keep asking me to make Wife of the Party pajamas. What a great idea. I wish I'd thought of that before right now because it might be hard for me to get it done before Christmas, but it's a great idea. Wife of the Party PJs. So maybe for Valentine's Day, I can make it happen. But anyway, thank you everybody for coming back every week. Thank you for all your positive comments. Thank you for all your negative comments. I like all of them. Thank you for sharing the podcast. I hope everybody listening is well and has some good thing they're looking forward to tomorrow. It may not be, or on today. I guess this drops on Thanksgiving. so that Thanksgiving can be special somehow. Like last week, I talked about making a Christmas tree out of poster board and construction paper on a year I couldn't go home. And that tree is really, really special to me. So maybe we can all find something tomorrow or today that makes this Thanksgiving special, something you can find that you can be grateful for, especially if you're not having your typical Thanksgiving. So big hugs to everybody. And thanks for coming back and watching. I hope you enjoy me and Gege Kreischer. Sorry, I was a little late. Bert called me right as I was walking out here. And he was recording Two Bears, One Cave and had me do a bit. An audio bit before. And I was like, I have somewhere to be. But you know who takes precedence over everybody, don't you, G?
Better than anyone, yes.
Yeah.
Not better than you, but I passed them off to you.
Close, right?
Yeah.
Thanks for doing this today.
It's a lovely break.
A break from what?
A legitimate break.
Yes.
From 24/7. Of course, they're darling.
Yes.
But a break is always lovely.
A break is always nice.
Yeah.
So people who don't know, you're staying with Bert's. We sent Bert's tour bus to pick up you and Al.
Uh-huh.
And you are now in LA and staying at Bert's sister's house, who lives downstairs from his other sister, your two daughters. And Cotty has a 3-year-old and a 9-week-old. 9 weeks?
8 weeks old today.
Oh,
2 weeks today.
8 weeks today. Boy, if that's not a full-time job.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yes. Uh-huh. And there's not many people when we're together. It's not many people that get it.
Yeah, it's true. But I remember being very grateful when you came to town because I'd be like, 5 minutes of just at least 5 minutes here and there.
Yeah.
Just keeps, but it is a lot. It's a lot.
And especially when, Al and I have been in pretty strict quarantine for 8 months. And all I have to do is take care of me and him. But,
Yeah.
You didn't have the confusion of having to go someplace during the day. You couldn't go out for I really love Instacart.
Yeah.
So I lived in a bubble, but loved it. And my friends would all be saying, oh, I can't wait to go out. I do want to go out to dinner and order a drink that someone else makes for me. I do want to do that. But I would sit there and think, what's wrong with me? I love being quarantined. This is amazing. So
it's a forced slowdown for most people. I have been so busy in this quarantine, busier than I've been in a long time. Bert and I have both been really busy. But I hear that from most people, that it's like a forced kind of slowdown. No soccer practice, no lessons, no sleepover after sleepover. So you can actually just kind of chill. What was the tour bus like?
Well, I learned that when you're 72, you don't try to walk around when it is in motion.
Good lesson.
And I took a Dramamine every day, the non-drowsy. And I don't think I had a problem, but I wasn't going to risk it because I have such terrible motion sickness.
Right.
And it was the safest way in the world to go through. And it made me very aware of what germs I should be looking out for.
Yeah.
And, because when we go into hotels, I'd spray the room down, then I'd wipe everything down. And, it just made me aware that just because, and I love the staff in hotels, don't misunderstand me, but their standard may not be your standard.
Sure.
They're 25, you're 72.
Yeah.
And so, but it was very, very safe. And now, I think we just have to be very respectful of the surge that's going to happen on the surge.
Yeah.
And think scientifically and protecting all Americans first by wearing a mask and yourself, but then not going out when you don't have to.
Yeah, there's a lot you don't have to do. Doesn't it make this perfectly clear how much you don't have to do? You don't have to go to Target. You can order.
I buy more ordering.
You do?
Oh yeah, because I sit there and I'm writing something and doing some work, and then I think, I'm out of eyeliner. I might as well get toner and moisturizer while I'm at it because I'm going to run out. And then there's a sale on my gray shampoo. Okay, which is what I would never do. Typically, I just run out and use what was left in the guest shower.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So I'm bad like that.
I think I'm kind of bad like that too. I've been buying a lot of stuff too, and buying a lot of stuff that I need, but not really.
Well, because you're sitting there in the blue recliner in the cave.
Yes.
And you think, oh my God, I got to remember to get this. Okay. Pull my laptop out. Whereas if I made a list, I may never get around to buying it. Number one. Number two, I don't want to go to the mall. It's too much trouble. So I don't get it. I do without. And now I don't do without. Amazon is entirely too available for me.
Me too. So, will you ever do a cross-country trip on a tour bus again?
The tour bus was delightful.
Yeah.
Ron was delightful. It was nice to know. Of course, I was sitting next to OCD Al.
Yeah.
He kept saying, I think he's going over 70. Wait. It's on. I'm on Life 360. We're on 72 miles an hour, Like, yes, sweetheart. This is his profession and he's done it a lot. And why are we going? We should just go across 10. I mean, why is he going up through Atlanta? I mean, this is ridiculous. Should I say something? I said, you say something, I'm going to trip you while you try to walk, because we're not saying anything to Ron. He goes, he got over micromanaging Ron very quickly, thank God. But Ron's a professional. It's what he does for a living. You were wise to book hotels, because that was a nice break for someone that's not used to a tour bus. And I can see that when they get off stage and he expands it, and they're all like puppies in a pen, releasing energy, and they have no standards. Let's put it that way.
None on that tour bus.
And we didn't drink on that trip, so I think drinking helps on a tour bus. Although, still, I couldn't stand up and walk and drink at the same time.
No, no way.
But it sort of, I think a tour bus when you're on tour is sort of semi-party, hard work. I really believe it's hard work, but, and we were it was such a first experience. I probably would do it again, but now that I know what to expect.
Right.
But I probably would do it again. It was a very safe way, but fortunately we'll all get vaccinated and we'll be back in airports.
Yes. Let's hope that sooner than later.
What is the number one question people ask you about Bert?
How did you get him to be a comedian? And
did you say years of college?
Well, I used to, when he was first judged or voted the party animal, I had a woman once ask me, how did you specifically raise a party animal? And I looked at her. I didn't think she was serious, because that's such an insane question. I said, well, it started at Chuck E. Cheese. Lots of birthday parties. When we didn't even know the people, we would just go in and crash, And she looked at me like, oh my God, that's like, I'm joking. I didn't raise a party animal. And when people say to me or to Al, how did you raise a comedian, or what did you do to help him become a comedian? And I said, well, with Bert, we learned at an early age, first do no harm.
Right.
You don't raise a comedian.
No.
You raise a child to choose.
Right.
So we raised Bert. He chose to be a comedian, but we didn't raise him to be. I was shooting for doctor or lawyer, honestly. But, so you get out of their way.
Yeah.
You raise them to be moral, ethical, honest, have good character, kind, sensitive. That's what you raise a child to be.
Yeah.
And Bert was always happy. That was always a complaint I got about Bert. He is so happy.
Why would that be a complaint?
Because he went to schools. It wasn't a mistake, but I'm glad we did it. He went to schools that were academic because we knew he would settle in the middle of the road.
Right.
No, I didn't want him to go to a school that he could float.
Right.
And I mean, trust me, he still tried to float.
Right.
But because his focus in school was social.
Totally.
He loved the sports. He loved the guys. He loved the, lunchtime. And that was who he was. And he got B's and C's. I'm happy. You're passing. Because I knew I'd never get A's.
Right.
And I never wanted to put the stress on him because I had taught at these schools.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw parents just destroy their children by imposing a mentality on them. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, you having fun learning? Did you learn something? Are you applying it? Go for it. You're fun.
That's what we're doing too.
Yeah.
It's the best way to raise kids. And there's no pressure. Just do your best. That's it.
His father nor his mother sought the A. So why would we all of a sudden think we'd give birth to an A student?
Right.
And that's really what I saw. I saw average parents imposing this on, and then the kids, that's why they all ended up drinking at an early age. Anyway, we loved who he became. We loved the kid that he was. And he was happy. And he was always busy and doing something. Fine.
Right.
You do what you're going to do.
Obviously I didn't know him as a child, but he sounds like he was into a lot, like tennis and swim. I didn't know he swam on a swim team.
Briefly.
Briefly. Oh, okay.
Well, when he was about 6, you as a parent, you do what was done to you.
Sure.
And you think, you don't question it. So I remember after Annie did a year of dance, she got in the car after the recital and she looked at me and said, you realize we're not going to do this anymore. And Bert went to swimming lessons and he had a sinus infection. This was when he was 6.
Right.
He had a sinus infection. And so he went to swim practice. I made him go to practice because I had to be a good parent. I had to have him follow through. And he got in the car and he threw up.
Oh.
Well, he had swallowed so much water and he had all this mucus and everything. Yeah. So he threw up and he goes, now can I not go to swim practice? And then the pediatrician explained to me with his allergies, swimming, so it's year round in Florida. Was not the best choice. And he was on baseball.
Yeah.
It's enough.
Yeah.
And then he got into tennis because the boys that he liked were into tennis. But his swimming career began at Jesuit when he found out there were girls on the swim team.
Oh, motivation.
But almost killed the deal when he found out he had to wear Speedo.
Oh, my God.
The guy who lived in a Speedo today.
Yes, right.
So he would put boxers on. He only would swim the backstroke.
Oh,
why? He would only swim the backstroke because you get in the water with the backstroke. So he would get in the water with the backstroke, take his boxers off, put them on the side of the Now, he is, at this point, party Bert. So the fact that he did this made everybody, all the kids, go wild. They thought it was just hysterical.
Oh, my God. So I would never have thought that based on his Speedo collection today. Would never have thought. And he said he wore Speedos as a child, like a small child, 6, 7, 8.
Yes. Couldn't get him out of it. And if you go through the pictures, every time somebody asks me for pictures and I send them, note, it's a Speedo and a cutoff Nike shirt.
Right, exactly.
All the child wore.
Gigi, do you need to grab some water or cough drop or anything like that?
I have. I'm sorry for the coughing. I'll really try to stop. I've been coughing for 2 years and they don't know why.
Okay, no problem.
No idea why?
No, they have no idea why.
Huh.
And it's common in senior citizens.
Yeah.
They think that it's the long-term effect of either a blood pressure medicine or Nexium.
Interesting.
Which they have no. But I it's interesting. You'll go out and you'll hear the cough and you'll turn around and say, yeah, no reason. Nobody knows why.
Nobody knows why. Just
Old
happens.
age.
Just happens.
Yep.
So, we've talked, Bert and I have talked a lot about his anxiety on this podcast. Did he have a lot of anxiety as a kid?
He had separation problems.
Yeah.
He had a terrible time. It wasn't that he didn't want to leave us as much as he was afraid of what would happen to us when he was not with us.
Interesting.
And when he went to Berkeley, was 6 years old, went to first grade. And before he started, Thurman Munson was killed in an airplane crash.
Mm-hmm.
Typical Bert.
Mm-hmm.
He listened to this newscast,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody said he was flying home to see his children. So he would get to first grade and he would start crying.
Aww.
And all the girls in the class would huddle around him and take care of him. I think that was the beginning of something else. And his teacher, who was a good friend of mine, still to this day, and she said, she came to me and she said, well, I said to him, Bert, what are you crying about? Your mother will be back.
Yes.
And he said, you don't know that, Mrs. Thomas. She goes, yes, she will be here to pick you up. And he said, no, I can't depend on that, because what if she's in a car accident and is killed?
Oh my God.
And Mary Will said, this kid really. And at that time, because the kid's 47, that would have been 40 years ago, not much was known about anxiety. Not much was really appreciated about younger children, younger human beings, and what they were feeling. A child was somebody you molded, not somebody you allowed to unfold.
Right.
Not someone you respected. It was someone you controlled. Right. And you don't control a child with anxiety. You have to understand it, and you have to coach it, but you have to understand it and support them through it. And, what was interesting is shortly after that, I went to work at Berkeley. So I didn't leave, and he saw me in the classroom.
Right.
But Annie and Cotty both had anxiety about that. So, and of course I was running, I was in a classroom with children who had separation issues as a teacher. And then as a principal of a preschool where, talk about separation anxiety, talk about neurotic parents. And so I had to begin research and understand what the parents were going through. So I always had an open door policy. I had a policy where call us at any time. We didn't have videos or video cams or anything at that time. We didn't pull the child out to talk to the parent, because we wanted the child to learn that every time mom went away and came back, it was an opportunity where you learned that you could trust that she would come back.
Yeah.
And that research fell into my lap with Bert. And so that was the only thing I knew to do, was to just assure him that that I understand you're upset. I understand you're worried, but I am here. And when I come today, you will learn that you can trust that I will come back. And I don't think that fixed his anxiety, but I think it lessened it about us leaving him and going away from him. Now, Annie wouldn't do an overnight. And Cotty, I taught at the school where Cotty was, and she still had, they just, anxiety is anxiety. You can't. And to this day, to this moment, everybody in the family that has anxiety looks at me and gets angry that I don't have it.
Yes. Preaching to the choir. You and I are same.
And as I say to Cotty, I know that you're feeling something that I can't feel, but understand it's not that I feel it and dismiss it.
Right.
It's that I'm wired differently. You're not wrong for the way you're wired. You're wired the way you're wired.
Yes.
I'm wired the way I'm wired, you know, and we support each other.
I feel that way too. I feel like when Bert has big anxiety stuff, and I'm like sincerely trying my hardest to understand and be compassionate and open and loving and supportive, it's still a failure, because at the base, I can't understand what he's going through. And for him, I'm failing him. And I'm like, but I'm failing you by not being wired to have anxiety, and I can't do anything about that. So can you forgive me that piece? And I find that he has a really hard time when he's in the moment forgiving me that I don't
very true.
Have it. And it's very frustrating as a person that doesn't have anxiety. I totally validate all their feelings, but I feel like mine are not. Do you ever feel that way?
What I've learned, no, my feelings are fine. That's
well, good.
No,
my feelings are fine too, but sometimes I go, I don't get any credit at all, in your brain at all for being like, maybe since I don't have anxiety, I should maybe pay attention to what she's doing. So if she's not terrified in this moment, then maybe I should let that affect me positively. Instead, he blames me for not also being terrified.
Well, but in the airplane, you're supposed to put your mask on first.
Yes.
Before you help your child.
Yes.
And so it may be that, and what I was going to say, what I've learned is I respect their anxiety.
Yes.
I don't negate their anxiety.
And
I don't mean to say I play into it, but I respect it by going along with it.
Right.
Like to be COVID tested every other day.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll go along with it. You know, you see, because that helps someone else feel better.
Yes, I do that too. But there are times where I go, I cannot go along with this anymore.
Oh, well, yes.
I'm good. This is now beyond. And I can't go into agreement with that. And
well, there are times I think there are times that you enable their anxiety.
Totally. Yeah.
And shouldn't. But, you calm them down. And I remember once Al and I were driving somewhere and I was angry. Okay, Leanne, how many times in the 15 years you've known me have you seen me get angry at the family?
Not a lot.
No. And he was trying to one up my anger so that I had to back off, and I wasn't, because I was right.
Right.
And he then finally stopped and said, look, this is the deal. I get upset and you calm me down. That's the way we work. And I thought, that's probably very true.
Yeah.
And he feels safe getting upset because he knows he can lean on me because I don't get upset.
Right.
And it is hard when he gets upset about the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean he's irrational upset. It's usually very, very, very valid.
Mm-hmm.
But it's something that I know the phone call the next day, the kids are going to totally come around to whatever it was that he thought they should be doing.
Right.
And he'd have a calm conversation with them and then there would not be a problem.
Right.
But I'd never say that to him.
Right.
I say, you have a good point. I know tomorrow you're going to have a great conversation with them and this will be resolved. I can't believe that so-and-so would do something as stupid.
Right.
It's just, they don't know, hon. They don't know. Yeah. They're not in your position. The whole anxiety thing, though, we've learned so much about in the terms of mental health and for educational purposes.
Right.
But it's also, we've learned it's not usually just anxiety. It's also a temperament. And some people have anxiety and shut down.
Right.
And some people have anxiety and act, and then it's all out. They throw up their anxiety all over the place.
Yeah.
So we're learning a lot about what goes along with anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And there are times that I look at Bert and I think, wow, he's successful because of all the things that some psychologist or psychiatrist would have wanted to kick out.
Totally, yeah.
And we're very fortunate that he chose to do what he chose to do.
Yeah. Because
those qualities create that edge or that raw nerve or that person that thinks it makes sense to go on stage, take your shirt off and make people laugh. I mean, I think it makes perfect sense, but that's why I said first do no harm. I knew what I had.
Right.
But I mean, I remember when he first went into comedy, I thought, well, good comedians are usually screwy. Bert's not going to be very good at. Little did I know how screwy he was. And
he might be a little bit screwy.
but you look at it and it's like Al's law career. Al, when he did litigation, he was so petrified. Anxiety ruled. He was petrified he wouldn't say the right thing or do the right thing. He over-prepared. He's never lost a case.
Right.
But he doesn't do litigation.
Right.
He learned, I'm not doing litigation. I'm going to do real estate because it's calm. I can control it. And that's how he chose to do what suited his temperament, his set of skills. And fortunately, Bert did the same thing.
Yes, he did.
Has a distinct set of skills, and we're very fortunate that they came together in a way that made him happy in what he does and made him relatively successful.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a very specific skill set, especially comedians aren't usually as balanced as Bert, as imbalanced as Bert is. He's pretty balanced in a lot of in his value system, right? And how he treats his family and thinks about his children and his friends. It's pretty balanced. A lot of comedians that I've had relationships with aren't super balanced. They don't think there's something's wrong with their value system. Not all of them, obviously. We're good friends with a lot of comedians that are awesome, but some of them I go, that's kind of, you really sleep with a waitress in every single club across America and you're married with children? I don't understand that value system at all. But that seems to happen a lot in the world of comedy. Bert, I always say Bert's like a white picket fence guy that takes his shirt off and wears Speedos. You know, they don't usually go together, but for whatever reason, they do in his little being. He is very white picket fence. He's, married once forever, 2 kids, wants to vacation with his family. It's pretty regular, that part.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's what I meant when I said the way you raise a child. If you give him that foundation, he can do anything and be successful, because there's a lot of lawyers that sleep with everybody that walks in their office.
Totally.
There's a lot of doctors. There's a lot of CEOs. A lot of CEOs, and that type of behavior feeds a need.
Right.
And when you look at who Bert chose and how he structures you and he structure your lives, that's what feeds his need.
That's right.
Needs that family.
It was healthy.
And, when we go out here, my friends will always say to me, so what'd you do in LA? What'd you do in Hollywood? First of all, I didn't go to Hollywood. And they'll say, what did you do? I said, laundry, babysitting, dog walking, cooking. And they'll say, where'd you go to dinner? I don't remember, because I was rolling a child out around the back to keep her happy or him happy. Right. And, they'll always think that there's this glamorous lifestyle. And I said, no, you don't understand. The kids work in the industry. So when they come home, they want a safe place to fall that is totally and completely family.
Yeah, totally.
And that's not the way you live. I said, no, when you go home, do you want to go watch every law TV show or talk to lawyers or go home and talk law with your wife? You don't.
No.
You want to get away from it. You want to get away from the office.
Right.
So, but I think that when I see how grounded your family is, and
thank you.
Yeah, you're grounded. You're real. You're I was taking care of the girls at one time, and Bert was making breakfast, and Isla said to him, he was doing Bert the Conqueror at the time. And he says, hey, big boy, can you conquer me up a hamburger? And I thought, that's probably healthy. That they're not wrapped up in their fathers. I know they have to deal with their fathers, with other people's perception of their father's celebrity. Yeah. But that celebrity is just a perception. It's not, and actually it's a responsibility.
Yes.
And they should be taught that their father's celebrity is responsibility to
we have told them that. The last time they just started, Bert, Lucky or whatever, just started getting really famous recently in the last few years, really recognizable in a way that it affected our family. So up until probably, was it last summer? We were pretty anonymous as a family walking around the world. Yeah. And then last summer when we went back east, when we went to the lake and then to Tampa, when we landed in Atlanta, this whole group of kids that were going to Army basic training in Georgia were on our plane, and they lost their mind that Bert was on the plane. And Bert was in first class and the girls and I were in coach. So we come out And Andrew's sneaking in. What's up, Andrew?
Grab that Zoom for the recording.
Oh, he's got to get something out of here. So we're deboarding the plane, and there's this huge mass of guys around their dad, right?
Mhm.
And that was one of the first times I remember thinking something has changed. Now, this is a lot of people, and they're old enough that I sent them to baggage claim to meet my dad, who was picking us up.
Mhm.
And I was like, we'll be there shortly. It took us 45 minutes to get from the plane to baggage claim because people kept stopping him to take pictures. And when we got back with the girls, they were, of course, super annoyed because they had to wait forever, and they're teenagers, and that's what they're supposed to do. But we did have that conversation with them. We were like, this is what gives us this life that we have, is that dad has built this career, not necessarily to become famous. I don't know what Bert would do for a living if he weren't a comedian. I mean, it's not like he went, I'm going to be famous. I think he went, the only thing I really want to do is be on stage and tell jokes and to make a living at it. I mean, we'd always said, if we can just make a living at this, that's great. No, the fame is obviously is nice. I don't really care about it, but he enjoys some of it. But yeah, when that happened, we had a conversation with them, and we were like, this is a responsibility. You can't just accrue all these fans and then go, screw you for interrupting me. You know, obviously there's sometimes we don't want people knocking on our front door. That is a breach. Like, there's some personal spaces that fans shouldn't just assume they can be in. You know, we've had people leave packages at our front door, pin notes to our front fence, people we don't know that we're like, you shouldn't really know that we live here. And now that makes me nervous. That stuff is not appropriate. But if we're at Gelson's shopping and someone stops Bert, we can never get annoyed at that, because that's a lack of grace and gratitude. And I've tried to teach the girls that grace and gratitude are two of the most important things to have. If someone approaches you and says, I loved seeing you on The Cabin, did you really ask your dad if he was in rehab? To react in a graceful way with grace. It doesn't mean that your feelings aren't valid, that you don't want to be bothered, or that makes you feel, weird or awkward. That's also true. But the person 99% of the time means no harm. And you're usually with me or another person. And there's no harm in being graceful and saying, thank you so much. And no, I didn't really think my dad was in rehab. I was part of the show, So I think they kind of understand. We've had more conversations after that, but I think that time was one of the first times where we went, look, something's changed. And now we're not going to move through the world, at least for a little bit of time. It may not be for long, but for this pocket of time, just have to be aware of how you behave and how it affects that person who might be you may have made that person's week by them just coming up and saying, I loved seeing you on The Cabin. So are you going to be a jerk? Because that means a lot to that person, and to be aware of that. So they're pretty good about that. It really makes Isla uncomfortable. She doesn't like that people know so much about her. And she doesn't like that. And I think I think it's really valid, but she's 14, she wants to be secretive about everything right now. She won't even tell me what she wants for Christmas. She wants to put it on an Amazon wish list and let me discover it myself from the wish list. I'm like, okay. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm still going to get the information. You realize that. So just tell me. She doesn't want it. She's a teenager.
I think it's what I notice is when people confuse what a person does from who they are.
Yes.
And Bert, what he does for a living is not who he is. It's a part of his personality. I mean, Bert, I've met friends of his who are comedians that are never off stage.
Yes, me too.
And I think, is there anything more to this person?
Right.
And and part of Bert's personality is that he enjoys people.
Right.
And that's the part that I would pick him up at the beach house, drive him down to the downtown Improv in Tampa, and all the way he'd be snoring and and exhausted, and he'd get out, and then when I'd go to pick him up, I would catch the end of his set, and it was the first time he told the machine story, and I thought that his comedy isn't his gift, his ability to do it every night, twice a night sometimes, and bring the audience into his party.
Right.
That's the trash can.
They just left my house. They went from my house to your house, I think.
So, I mean, that I think is the gift, but Bert knows it's what he is, what he does for a living. It's not who he is. And you know that too.
Yes.
And
his kids do. Yeah. They know.
The girls are internalizing that.
Yeah.
You don't have to tell them. But you're right. It is his fan base. It is what gets him his next job.
Yeah, it's his connection. People connect to him. They feel like they know him. So this is what I'm dealing with behind the scenes. This person is obsessed with this item. This person drops this item and it rolls under every piece of furniture, and then she can't get it. And then she spends all of her time barking at it. So I have taken this item, and she is now obsessed with it on top of me. So I'm going to throw it outside, and we're going to hope that she just stays outside. Go get it. She is something else, that dog. I cannot wait to get into my own podcast studio so that I don't have dogs and that I don't sit down. And this was in front of here. This was in front of here. This was in front of here. I sat down and it looked like this.
There you go.
And I was like, really? Really? This is my space too. I have to clean all this up before I can even start. Oh, and there was a whole big bag of cigars too.
Oh, that's always adds to the ambiance.
This was in front. Yeah, I don't know. Being a comedian is a really odd thing, but I think Bert does it really beautifully. He handles everything pretty well. You know, being a dad, fluctuating between the two worlds is really hard. We have something called re-entry. You know, when he comes home, it takes us a couple of days, depending on how long he's been gone, for everybody to regulate. Everybody gets a little bit off. The girls don't want to, they don't want another parent. One voice of reason is enough in this house. Two, and they're like, seriously? And they're united most of the time? Yeah. No. And then, Bert is used to telling everybody what to do, and they just hop to it. Mm-hmm. And he comes to this house with three very strong feminists who go, get it yourself. He gets so aggravated. There's so many conversations we've had about, he's like, why can't you just do what I ask you? Why is it a big deal that I ask you to find my wallet, my keys, my sunglasses, my Rogaine, make me a glass of water and rub my feet? I don't know, because we don't do that or ask each other to do that. So it's not like I'm doing all that for Isla and then you show up and I go, no, we all just kind of self-manage here in this house. We're super independent. And, if someone asks me to get them a glass of water, it's so unusual that of course I do it. That's how you operate all day, Bert Kreischer. Bert Kreischer would like to be waited on hand and foot from the time he opens his eyes until he goes to bed. And I just didn't raise girls who want to just wait on someone hand and foot. We have stuff going on. Yeah. Like I have a full life that has nothing to do with Bert, and also a full life that has a lot to do with Bert. So I can't just say, oh yes, please, can I clip your toenails? That would make me so happy. And I think in his fantasy world, he wished we would all follow him around with feather fans and drinks on a tray and just, be at his beck and call.
I had a very good friend whose husband traveled. We would leave Sunday night and get home Friday afternoon. Mm-hmm. And she had the same problem. Yeah. Because it was re-entry. Yeah. Because now they had this rhythm all week. Mm-hmm. And now he came back in. And what do you mean you're going to tell me what to... what you want for dinner. Excuse me, this is what we're having.
Yes, it's very hard.
And but ironically, one of my distinct high school memories of Bert is reentry on Sunday afternoon.
Oh, because school starts Monday?
Because the weekend was ending. He didn't give a shit about school. But the weekend was ending. The party was coming to an end. And it was like you just hoped he stayed on another side of the house.
He still has that with the party, because if he's been gone for a while, he'll want to go see the campers, our friends, the campers. Mm-hmm. And he'll want to see them every night. Mm-hmm. And at a certain point, on like the third night, I'll go, no, I can't do it 3 nights in a row. 2 nights in a row, okay. But the third, like, I've got stuff to do. I've got laundry. I can't do 3 nights in a row. And he'll come totally undone. Totally undone. And I'll say, you go over there. You go to Sandy's house. Totally fine. I'm going to stay home and take care of my stuff. But he won't go without me. Yeah. He wants to go as the whole pod. Everyone must party. And I'm like, my laundry list doesn't stop. Like, someone still has to make this house move forward. That's not in your job description. So you can party because you don't have a show or you don't have a podcast or you don't have something like that. But I can't. I've still got to unload the dishwasher, And
but what Bert does for a living is party.
It's party. I know.
The perception of party is twice a night on the stage.
Totally.
And so that's his. I'm not telling you something you don't know. If you were to depend on Bert for any moving a house forward,
yes,
there would be a condemned board.
Yes,
at the front door
yes,
very shortly after he was given the responsibility. That's not his skill set.
No.
But one of the things about hanging out with Bert, you hang out with him when he's on the stage, and that's what he does. He likes to party, he likes to hang out. So when he gets home, why would that stop?
Why would it stop?
Of course.
I realize that, but at a certain, and we don't let it stop. We do, but at a certain point, I go, I need it to stop. Like,
you can't live like that.
No, I can't live like that. Lifestyle. He would do it. Like, we had one week where I just thought, I'm just going to see how many nights in a row he's going to make this happen. It was 5 nights in a row. And on the 6th night, I was like, this was an experiment that totally backfired on me. I was hoping after night 3, you'd go, boy, I'm really tired. I think we should just hang in tonight and put on some pajamas and watch a movie. Never going to happen. It's never going to happen. So we've had these conversations over and over for years, probably for at least 12 years now, about how I recharge my batteries by being by myself.
Yeah.
And that it's not a slap in the face to anybody to say, I need to go in my bedroom and close the door and read a book.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean I don't love you or I don't want to see you or don't want to hang out with you, but I'm getting increasingly irritable because I haven't recharged. So for all of us to be happy, I need a minute. And he's finally gotten to that place where he can hear me when I say that, or not think that I'm breaking his heart or that I want a divorce.
And I think
that one time he was like, so you want a divorce? And I went, I just want to read a book. I just want to read a book by myself. I don't want to.
But you realize 2 extroverts don't last long together.
They would have to burn out, man.
Yeah.
They'd have to.
The mixing of an extrovert and an introvert, and that is not an indication of personality. That's an indication of how you recharge your batteries.
That's right.
Bert needs a crowd in order to
recharge.
To reentry, he needs a crowd.
Yes, he does.
And but what's funny is Al is like you.
Right.
It's a rare occasion when he wants to go. Well, he'll go out. That's the point.
Yeah.
Not 2 nights in a row. That's not happening.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the reasons we moved to Florida was my family had something every single night of the weekend.
Right. I bet.
And Al said, enough. I can't. I want to relax on Sunday night. I want to, and of course, we had big dinners every Sunday night.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I saw them last Sunday. I said, I know, but I haven't seen them all. And that's one of the reasons I went to work. Because Al, poured all of his energy into the day, the
Right.
work day, and came home and shut down.
Right.
Well, I was going 90 miles an hour with 2 kids
Right.
and wanted, I came to life when he came home. Well, that wasn't the way it was going to happen. So I figured, let me go to work, and I can pour it on at work. And then when he comes home and I come home, we both want to shut down.
Right.
Not shut down towards each other, but
Hey, you are killing
live a quieter life.
Dog is. We're having problems with separation anxiety with this person right here. And I think it's partly because of COVID, because we haven't left for the last 8 or 9 months with any regularity. And I've been super busy this week. So I've been over at our house almost all day, like from 7 a.m. to 3 in the afternoon over there. And now I can't leave her. If I leave her in the house, she started like tearing up our back door to get to me.
Good.
So I thought I would try today to have her with me, because if I put her in the house, she tears up our back door. And this is so distracting. I can't wait to move.
By the way,
yes.
Yesterday I had 2 children for a time by myself.
Yeah.
There is no way you can work at home and have your children at home with you. No way. I do that for a living, and I couldn't do it.
No.
I mean, I take care of children for a living, or I teach people how to do it.
No.
And I thought, oh my God.
No.
This is.
Let's see. Isla was a year when we hired our first nanny, Jocelyn, our very first one. She was a year. So for a year, I worked at home by myself on that apartment building with 2 children.
And a traveling husband.
I ran 139 units of apartments with 2 kids under the age of 4 and no other adult.
It's interesting because now women have left the workforce.
And it's so many. It's so upsetting.
Yeah. And so this is going to alter the way we do business. Has been forever changed.
I think so.
Because administration, who have not had to work at home and take care of children, who do not have the lifestyle or the life challenges that the 20 and 30, the working poor, I call them, the 20 and 30-year-old families have, is going to say, I don't need all this office space. I don't need all these people bumping into each other. I'll just sort of delegate, and they can do it at home.
Yeah.
And then there will be, because I've been in this position, there is always the administrative people who don't see what you're doing. So they want to make sure you're doing it. So they give you part of their job. But it's usually a measurable outcome.
Right.
I want this by 6 o'clock.
Right.
And they don't understand the work that goes into producing it and the intense concentration and isolation it needs to do it. So it's going to, when we get back to normal, when like next spring, next summer, when businesses respond because they see they can save money,
yes,
and bump up profits, and the profits are not going to go back to the workers.
Right.
They're going to delegate, and the family life, you're going to see mental health problems. You're going to see higher rate of divorce. You're going to see challenges that you can't believe. I was talking to a friend of ours who's a builder, and I said, well, our new house works because there's 2 home offices.
Right.
And I said, I can't tell you the number of my friends who's working at home with their husbands, and they don't have children, but they can't do it because one's in the kitchen and one's in the office.
Right.
One's in the spare bedroom and one's in the, and I have one girlfriend that always holds it on her dining room table, and there's a bar cart behind her.
Right.
I love that one. But I said, there's 2 home offices here. I said, Al and I are working at home beautifully because I go to one corner of the house and I'm all set up in there. And he goes to the other corner of the house and he's set up.
Right.
We visit during the day and it's delightful. But I said, in the future, you're going to have to build homes. First of all, schools are going to do much more virtual learning.
I think so. Yeah.
And they're going to offer college, definitely, because they're going to offer the first 2 years that core online. Why am I going to waste? They don't really value the first 2 years.
Right.
It's all garbage in, garbage out anyway. It's not thinking.
Right.
And then high school is going to do that too. They're going to they're going to deal with the challenges of growth, facility growth and facility maintenance by sending the smart kids home to work at home.
I think that is a terrible plan.
It is. Because high school is about
social. It's about social.
It's extracurricular activities.
Yes.
It's leadership.
Yes.
It's self-management, self-regulation. It's all your interpersonal skills, all your executive function that switches in high school, because instead of just managing to allow the next teacher to come into the room, you have to get yourself to the next room. And that takes your executive function skills to get your act together. And so it's going to have an impact that I don't think the people making decisions are going to understand, because they have really never been in the position. But in early childhood, half of the centers have closed anyway.
Right.
They went under.
Right.
And unfortunately, it's the smart centers. The people who understood the next 5 years said, I got a family.
It's unsustainable. Yeah.
I'm going to bail. I can't. Yeah. This is a bleeding. This thing's hemorrhaging. And it's not going to come back for 5 years. I don't want to put 5 years in.
Right.
The smart early childhood educators that I've talked to, it scares me. And then the people that don't understand, that are bad business people to begin with, and see early childhood, and this would be for school, as a business that they can make money on. And they don't really, I love children. Of course I care. Bullshit. Are you educating them?
Right.
Are they bigger, stronger, smarter at the end of the day?
Right.
At the end of the week?
Right.
Can you tell me what they have learned? Have you measured their learning? That type of program. They're like, you know what? We're underpaid. We're undervalued. I'm going to bail. I got my degree. I'm going to go teach in the public school where I at least get benefits and $25 an hour as opposed to $8 an hour.
Right.
So it will change it. But I look at Georgia missing her junior year.
Yeah.
And Isla starting a new high school, all excited, and how that altered. And I'm really interested to see how that plays out.
Me too.
Do they appreciate that senior year more? Does the summer,
I hope so,
everyone gets the vaccine in the spring and they come together again?
What's that look like?
Because I know when I can go out to dinner on a Friday night and order a cosmopolitan that I don't have to make,
right?
I'm really going to appreciate it more.
Yes.
So I'm wondering how that's going to play out with them.
I wonder, how that's going to play out with them also. I was talking to someone yesterday, someone who is a doctor, and the doctor was saying he thinks the collateral damage of COVID is going to be massive mental illnesses due to isolation and a lack of socialization, particularly in children. And that the damage done from that is far worse than the 1 or 2% fatality rate we're running at. That he thinks the people in authority are making the wrong choice to choose to, this is not my opinion, this is just what this person's perspective was. Why are we shutting everyone's life down to protect the 1% fatality, not people who are going to contract, but the people who are going to die, is about 1% of our population. But we are affecting every single preschool, elementary school, middle school, high school, and college student in this country, and some of them detrimentally for the long term. Why are we making this choice? Why can't we figure out how to open schools? And
that's the point. It takes additional funding. But in the preschool that I manage, every child wears a mask all day and they're happy.
Yeah, I
Now,
think
they don't on the playground, and they have spaces that they can go to when they want to take their mask off. Every teacher, all day.
Mhm.
The parents are not allowed in the building. We have video cams all over. They can watch us all day long. I don't care. But we isolate the children. We've picked up the techniques
Mhm.
that keep the children safe. Now, I don't want to jinx myself by saying we haven't had a case,
Right.
but we have parents that when they clear policies that say if your family has been exposed to COVID and you send your child to school, and we know, and then that information
Find
comes
out.
to us, we have to shut your pod down for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nobody wants to be that parent.
No.
So you see, and then in Pasco County, the county that the school's in, we could do that because the whole public school system had to wear masks.
Right.
Now, but the cleaning is additional. The cleaning and disinfecting, the staff, you need extra school buses, you need extra staff for the cleaning, there are expenses
Yeah,
to
sure.
running it right. And there is also, unfortunately for us, we were in a political climate where you did not have all teachers in agreement because of their political viewpoint. And there are areas in every town, and Tampa's no different, where you can't ask parents to wear masks. You can't mandate that because they'll leave. You will not have a school.
Wow.
So yes, the child is only 3 for 12 months.
Right.
And the skills needed for the architect to develop the architecture of that brain, the experiences needed to build the architecture of that brain that year are not, they've been altered.
Right. They're not recoverable.
Yes. Well, you can recover. There is resilience. You can recover, but you may not be a resilient person.
Right.
You may not, for instance, children that need trauma, that have lived with traumatic experiences, trauma experiences, death of a parent overseas, death of a grandparent, poverty, homelessness. Children that live with those traumas, early child traumas, all of their energy goes into just survival, just getting through every day, and in their own little 3 and 4-year-old way. When we go back to normal, they have different issues to live with when they have the opportunity to have experiences that build. They're going to repair that trauma first. Right. Not the trauma that came from being isolated for a year. And it's not, I don't know that I would use the term trauma for being in quarantine. Right. But it's like lack of opportunity, lack of experiences, lack of growth for that time. And that's what your colleague was saying, is that you can go, you can rebuild.
You can recover from it.
But it's there. The recovery has to be intentional.
Yes, that's what he said too. He said he believes that when we're all back up and running, there's going to be a greater need for mental health services in school than ever before.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Kids, because this is such formative time in their life, Me, I'm already a fully formed person, but how, like you're saying, how much you form in that year of being 3 is what other things build on top of. Or even when you're 14, 15, 16, that's another really intense building block. 13, all those years are really intense and shape who you are, maybe not permanently, but for a little while. And his assessment was, we're just as bad as anxiety for kids and depression and eating disorders have become in recent years for youth. They're going to just explode once we go back to normal, because they've been living in this bubble and they've had this arrested development. Now they're going to be thrust back into this normal life, having been arrested in development for a year. And what will that cause? Really, what will that look like? He's real concerned about that.
And it's distinct for every year.
It is.
And I think that what I run into is people think, they're one. Baloney.
No, baloney is right.
You take in different settings, and I don't mean you have to go to preschool or you have to go to childcare, But when you're visiting grandparents,
Yeah.
and when you're out with family parties, the brain of the infant is stimulated. And so you're not getting if you limit the stimulation and you limit the brain's ability to activate the neurons and to, create the pathways, then it does have an impact. He's very true. So I think education is going to have to rise to the occasion after that. Unfortunately, we're focused on getting bars and restaurants back up and running, and that will be where we put our energy. And we really should be looking at the long-term impact of the recovery.
I don't think anybody's
human
thinking
beings
about the long-term impact of recovery. I think they're just trying to get to the finish line, which is their perceived finish line is a vaccine. But I think that's really just the beginning, right?
Yes, because a lot of people won't take the vaccine. Now, if I'm vaccinated and hopefully the vaccine is a true protection, then I'm not going to get it from someone who doesn't wear a mask.
Right.
But we're still going to have the impact of an economic recovery.
Mm-hmm.
And the impact of those people who are not wearing masks, catching it, getting sick, and what that's going to do to our economy.
Right.
So and we're going to have massive unemployment, like it or not, because unemployment doesn't just bounce back the next day.
Right.
Because restaurants have gone out of business, so their employees are screwed.
Totally.
Small businesses will be impacted.
Mm-hmm.
Big, large systems will be impacted because they've downsized. Everybody that has lost money will be measuring the comeback, the recovery. So there's going to be unemployment.
Yes.
And unemployment affects us across the board.
Yes, it does.
So, and then you put the budget, the state budgets and the federal budgets all go into economic recovery, not human capital recovery, social capital recovery.
No, for sure not.
Intellectual capital recovery.
It's gonna stink.
It's going to be a busy time, but I think it's interesting because when Al and I have realized, hey, we can retire well. We never thought we could retire. We could do this. We could really do this nicely. You
mean because of spending so much time together? Is that what you mean?
Well,
or not being so busy? Not being so busy.
Changing, saying no to things. Because we couldn't be physically present. Dialing back.
Right.
Dialing back. Now for Al, working from home, doesn't have to be in an office. An office has an energy, a rhythm, a patterns, that can be exhausting.
Sure.
And certainly you want to get away from that. And, working at home was much more relaxful for him. For me, I was getting away from it, but now I've stepped back and thought, why? I don't need to volunteer for that. Let somebody else volunteer for it. I learned I can knit all day.
Yeah, right.
I can surf the net all day.
Right.
I can bake. I can, before I think baking, I have to do something productive.
Right.
Knitting is for when I have nothing else to do and all my work is done. No. It just has changed the way I see what I want to do.
Great. That's great.
So I think every age has been affected and hopefully in a positive way. And my heart breaks for those people for whom the death has been a factor in this, because that's
terrible.
That's
terrible.
That is unimaginable to me.
Yes, I agree. It's terrible. It's a really crazy time.
Yes, it is.
Hopefully we learn whatever it is we're supposed to be learning. I think everything happens for you to learn something. So what are we supposed to be learning? Maybe as a society, and maybe as just a single person or within your family. What are you supposed to be learning from this? One thing I learned is that I have a really hard time knitting for knitting's sake.
You're too young.
I still can't do it. I can't do it. And I have a lot of friends who have really downshifted and are super enjoying this pandemic. And I just haven't been able to do it. That's something I have to work on.
But your knitting, my knitting is your house renovating.
Yeah, but I have serious deadlines with that. You probably don't have any deadlines with your knitting.
Well, no, you can't knit forever. I mean, I have the squares. I thought I was very naive with the crocheted afghans together. But the knitted afghan, all the 30 squares are made, but I have to sew them together and then crochet a border.
Yeah.
Dumbo thought she was going to do that during this visit to LA.
Oh, well, you were crazy, G. When you called me and asked me, I would have said, don't bother. Don't even bring it. You're not going to have a minute.
Yeah. But I think that right now your renovation has deadlines. Once you're in, and there will always be something you're doing.
Yes.
And you will give yourself deadlines.
I do.
And that's the difference.
Yes.
I've learned not to give myself I've learned that I can do things and adjust the deadline.
Right.
But I do it. I'm surprised that I can enjoy that because there were things in my head that were serious and I had to do that.
Right.
They've gone out the window.
That's awesome. I feel like I have a Marine drill sergeant in my head going, okay, today we're going to get this done and this done and this done and this done. And if you don't get that done, 40 push-ups, which is also good for you. So it's not a bad thing if you don't get it done because you'll still be doing 40 push-ups. I feel like that every day. And, even after I fell and end up in the hospital, I was like, I'm just going to do 2 things a day. And I have been really good at staying on the 2 things a day. But that drill sergeant stays in my head. I don't know what, I mean, he's very helpful. I get more done than most people in a 5-minute time period, but he is really exhausting. Last night I fell asleep at 8:30 on the couch and Bert was like, just go to bed. And I was like, well, I can't ethically go to bed at 8:30. I have an ethical problem.
I can now. I can.
I got to wake up. So we were watching this movie because Bert's working on this feature and he wanted me to watch it with him and talk about story notes. And I couldn't make it. I couldn't make it through the movie. I'm just too worn out. So I went to bed and then felt terrible because I wasn't able to make it through the movie with him because he asked me to help him. I was like, yeah, I'll help you. What? Oh, I'm watching. Couldn't do it.
Well, and I think that what I've learned, my drill sergeant has left my brain.
I'm so
That's
glad.
what quarantine has done to me. And I have a different priority, but I don't know that at your age and stage of family life, you have to work with the drill sergeant.
Yeah.
Because you still you're moving things forward. Whereas, except Cotty and Teddy were on the couch last month, and she may have told you this, but I have a bad habit when I'm napping, my head falls back, I'll go, and then that's when I wake up and know I'm napping. And so Cotty, Mike and Annie are teasing Cotty mercilessly that she's developing a lot of my habits. So she has Teddy on her, they're curled up on the couch, and she starts sleeping, and all of a sudden she goes, and Teddy looks at her and says, "Mommy, nope." So yes, I know I'll say to Al, sure, turn that on. It's 8:00. We'll watch it. And then I'm sound asleep at 8:10.
Yes.
In the recliner. In the blue recliner.
In the blue recliner. Is that your recliner?
There's 2. There's 2 blue recliners in the cave. And for years I would not have a recliner in my house.
Oh, they're the best things.
And then Al began his heart problem, so I had a cardiac recliner.
A cardiac recliner.
And I thought, I'm going to have this. It'll close up. It won't look like a recliner. I spent so much time in that damn chair ever since. And my living room, I wish I had a recliner in my living room, and I have standards. There will be no recliners in my living room.
I know. Bert's sitting in his recliner, and his recliner is a recliner. There's no hiding. That is a recliner. That's a recliner like what my daddy had as a kid. And when he wanted a recliner, this is something I find really fascinating about Bert and about Bert. Bert has so many familiar things to me. Now, I grew up super country, right? With my dad. My life with my dad was so country. And there's so many things Bert brings into the house that aren't from you. Like, you would never have this recliner in your house. Not in the Colebrook house. There is no part of Gege or Al that would ever have this recliner. I know that came from going to Bowden and sitting in my dad's recliner and going, hey, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm talking about. And I'm so shocked that he brings that stuff with him. Because some of it is just so country, right? I can't think of anything else off the top of my head, but I have those realizations all the time where I go, that is from Bowden, Georgia. And I can't believe that you like that. Like, I'm so surprised that you like that.
Well, I think anybody would like a recliner. Recliners are universal.
Yes, but
I love a recliner when I sit in it.
But your recliner looks like a piece of furniture that happens to recline. Bert's recliner looks like a recliner. It's like
a marshmallow that reclines.
Yes.
A chocolate marshmallow that goes back and forth. And that sucks you in. And once you get in there.
Lever on the side, the chew lever. I mean, there's no mistaking. But he was sitting in it the other day and I said, what are we going to do with this recliner in this house? I mean, we're building this very fancy new house. What do we do with that recliner? And he said, what do you mean? It's going right in the middle of the den. And I went, well, I thought maybe you'd want to put it upstairs, like in the screening room. And he went, no way. We just have to buy another one for upstairs exactly like this one. And I went, don't you want to look around and look at one from like Pottery Barn? And he's like, no way. This exact recliner. We're going back to the store where we bought this recliner and buying this recliner. Okay, I'll give you this. If that recliner is the same comfortable as this recliner, the new one can go downstairs. So I'm like, I'm going to have to design this whole den around this stupid recliner.
Because
it will have to be placed where he can see the television, so I can't like place it over here in some obscure, and it's going to have to be where he can comfortably watch TV. So I was like, oh my God, I can't believe that this is how my daddy is, the same way. His recliner goes from house to house to house. He had that when I was a kid, he had the same recliner my entire childhood. He would just continually get it recovered. So he would, he'd get it all beat up. It was always leather and he'd get all beat up and then he'd have it recovered. And then he'd get all beat up again. And he'd have it, like 20, 25 years, he had the same chair. And I'm thinking, I may have married the same guy in that lane. In the lane of the recliner, Jimmy Kemp has converted you to, we're recovering this recliner now. I said, well, let's recover it. And he went, no. It's perfect just the way it is. I'm afraid if you recover it, it won't sit the same. And I need it to sit exactly like it. I was like, oh my God. So we'll be having this recliner in our fancy new house.
Well, actually, every furniture store we go into, if there is a recliner, and I can document this with sales receipts. Al will sit in it. If he likes it, he buys it.
What does he do with it?
That's our problem.
But what do you do with the old ones when the new one comes in?
Gives it away.
Could you ship it to LA?
Well, we had the two brown leather in Colebrook, in his cave in Colebrook. And then we had one in the living, the Ralph Lauren chair, which he will not part with. That's his Bowden recliner.
Yeah.
And it goes to every bedroom. I mean, we had recliners in our, I'm sorry. The new recliners go on the first floor.
Okay.
The old recliners go in our bedrooms. So in our bedroom and become clothes hangers.
Yes.
And now, when we went into the new house, I had a lovely salesperson at Ethan Allen. Al picked all the furniture in one afternoon.
Right.
No decisions. Boom. The only reason I agreed to it was I knew I had 3 days to rescind the contract.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, we new furniture all throughout the house. And I wanted 2 comfortable chairs in the bedroom, made the bedroom big enough that I could sit in the bedroom in the chair.
Right.
Then I had the rocker that I rocked all the children in.
Mm-hmm.
Now the guest bedrooms are too small for chairs because why am I building a big guest room?
Yeah,
sorry, you're my guest, but
no.
Come out to the living room. So then I have this Ralph Lauren chair. So the Bartolettes were next door, and Darlene had a hotsy-totsy, fancy-dancy designer. Woo!
Ooh la
And
la.
she was designing, and Darlene said, I want the wow factor like Gege has. So Susan Decker-Roth, I shouldn't say names. Anyway, she goes over. She says, well, let me see Gigi's house. So she goes in, and she snooty, which is in essence for her, wow, this is not bad.
Right.
She goes into the bedroom, and she looks at me and says, why do you have 6 chairs in your bedroom?
Oh my gosh. Let me explain.
So I said, because I wanted them.
Right.
And so Darlene comes back and says, why do you have 6 chairs in your bedroom? I said, those were on sale at Haverty's and they were new and I love them. That's the Ralph Lauren chair he won't leave. That's the rocker. And they're the 2 recliners that we had to have.
Oh my gosh.
And he brought home one day. So she goes, well, so-and-so was very upset that you had 6 chairs. I said, but you know what? When Al's recovering from something, all the company has a chair to sit in the bedroom.
That's right.
But the recliner issue, you're lucky he doesn't buy recliners and bring them home. That he has a station on one recliner.
Oh, yeah. Like he doesn't have problems with other things like shoes and hats. I have 3 mountain bikes, an electric bike, and a beach cruiser.
You have a beach cruiser?
Yeah, he has a beach cruiser. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I mean, like the skateboards, 4 sets of golf clubs. 4.
I noticed that.
To my knowledge, you can only use 1 set at a time. Is that right?
Not necessarily. Because when we start hooking, we get the other set up. When we start, what is it to go to the other way? You hook and you do some slicing. You do it another way. God forbid you shank. That's when you give up. Then we have a moratorium. You have a funeral for your golf clubs. And you go out and buy the 5th set. That's for the shank.
No. 4
and then
sets
if you top it, oh my God, that's another set all entirely. So, well, Al has about 12 sets of golf clubs. So he got that from his father.
I said to him, your gym is filling up really fast over that new house with 4 sets of golf clubs and 3 mountain bikes and a beach cruiser. And he's like, we're not putting that in my gym. Well, where else am I going to put it? I can't put it in the house. We're going to clutter up our house. This house is so cluttered as it is. Our little house that we live in now is so packed.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to pack it all in this gym. 3 backgammon sets because you can play 3 games of backgammon at the same time. I don't know. He bought them all 3 at the same time. He didn't know which one he'd want. So he just bought 3.
That's called Gege shopping.
It is?
Yeah. The kids have a name for it.
Gege shopping.
And they would never let Gege and Bert go shopping together for food. Because
yes, I could see that.
Not end well.
I could see that. You know, it's so funny. Because I know you and Al for so long. It's interesting to see what parts of Bert's personality are similar to which parts of yours. It's really fascinating. He's such a mixture of the 2 of you. He's definitely got your Hobson party, never meets a stranger, can talk to anybody. And he definitely has Al's anxiety, but it's totally different. And he's so wicked smart. You guys are both obviously really smart people, but Bert is just so smart. And I don't know, when I watch him move through his days, it's interesting to see, he is himself. He's not you or Al, but to see where parts of him come from. It helps you understand better, right? To me, it helps me understand him better because if I watch the 2 of you and try to understand who you are as people, as individuals, and then see how that manifests in him, it gives me a clearer picture of him. I don't know why. It's just how my brain works.
Yeah. No, that's because you are a composite of your experiences, and you had most of those experiences. You learn, experiences teach. Everything teaches.
Right.
So you learn how to be a person from living with your family. And so you pick up those, you're wired one way. So that's, you're predisposed to certain things, but yeah.
Right. Yeah. Your trash truck came back to my house. Do you hear it? We're
so
trading trash trucks.
I'm thinking that because so much is going on in the condos with working down here, I thought your poor fellow has to put up with the trash trucks, the helicopter, the birds,
the dog.
Dog
finally went to sleep. Finally,
my cough.
She finally went to sleep. I don't know where the other dog is. He doesn't have separation anxiety, but she does.
Really?
It's terrible. Bert said when I'm not home, she cries. She just cries. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? I can't put her in my handbag and walk to the store. I mean, she's 120 pounds. I can't take her with me. So, so he says,
you're her service human.
I am her service human. Bert says that I do this to everybody, that I make myself, what does he call it? Where you can't live without me. So I do it to the dogs. I've done it to him. I do it to my children. I do it to some of my friends. And I'm like, by the way, I'm not doing anything. I'm just showing up. And this dog has attached and you have attached. Mm-hmm. I'm just kind of not aware of that.
That's called relationship, Bert.
Maybe. I don't know.
Degrees of relationship.
So what are you guys doing over there today? Any plans?
Surviving. They have to speckle. Al and Cotty and Ted.
Yes.
Went to Home Depot.
Oh boy.
Crack of dawn. They're in the checkout. Cotty and everything Ted saw that he wanted, he put in the cart.
Of course.
And Ted doesn't like the no word. And Al didn't want to deal with the meltdown. Yeah. So Al goes through the thing and Cotty goes, why are we buying doorknobs? And Al said, I couldn't say no. She says, why are we buying plumbing wire? He says, because I couldn't say no.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
So they are spackling and painting Annie's bathroom.
Oh, they're going to paint her bathroom.
Yeah. And so I got to get back upstairs to take, wait.
No.
He's taking a 9-eye.
He's in an 9-eye? I know. That was how I was wrapping up to see what else we're doing today.
9-eye, yes. And then we'll just chill this afternoon, get Ted out to do some running.
Yes.
Little Miss Sweet Cheeks is growing into her own.
Is she? How so?
Yeah, she's getting fidgety. She doesn't like to be held that much. So, still, but she wants to get on the mat. She wants to do some kicking. She likes to be held forward now. So, it's, you got to measure how much time someone holds her because that's not always the healthiest for kids. But yet it is, she needs that physical, whatever. So, and then dinner and early to bed because tomorrow we are cooking.
I know, turkey day. Day. I'm going to cook. No, I asked, we're bringing dessert for people watching. And Annie said pecan pie and wine. And I was like, done and done. And so neither of my kids like pecan pie. So I was like, that's all
mother-in-law does.
So I know,
all
right?
Matters. I do.
I love it. But I said, okay, well then what do you want? And Isla was like, my favorite thing on the planet, my favorite thing that you make that I want you to make every Thanksgiving and you never do is lemon pie.
Oh, that's good.
And I went, okay, I'll make you a lemon pie. And Georgie goes, I don't like lemon pie. I was hoping you'd make a pound cake. And I was like, well, I guess I'll make a pound cake too. So I'm making pecan pie, lemon pie, and a pound cake and bringing wine. So I'm going to make one of them today, probably.
Bring that Sauvignon Blanc. That was great.
Oh, I have a ton of it. I'd be happy to.
Fortunately, I can deal with a ton of it.
Totally. And for anybody who wants to know what that Sauvignon Blanc was, it's my friend Karen's. And you can get it at her. I think I've been talking about her winery forever, Tierra Vino. And there's a link on my website. So if you want it, it's really good.
It is good. And I do not do California Sauvignon Blancs.
Yeah.
Only New Zealand's. And this is good.
Yeah, it's really good. Her Chardonnay is really good too. And I don't like Chardonnay at all.
Oh.
But hers is really, really nice. I don't know why. I don't know how do you change a wine to make it taste like a grape? The grape is a grape. How do you, I don't know. It's over my head.
the climate in New Zealand affects the way the grape grows. Now, I know nothing about wine, but I do know that I don't like Chardonnay because of the oak barrels that it's done in.
Ah, interesting.
And when it's an unoaked Chardonnay, it's easy.
It's better. Bless you.
You're welcome. I mean, thank you.
Well, thank you for doing this today. Thank you. It was fun. Dear. Did you have fun?
Yes. It was just you and I hanging out talking.
Same as usual.
More into podcasts.
Same as usual. I think so. So, okay. Well, thank you. Tell everybody, hey.
I will.
And we'll see you tomorrow.
And I will confirm your desserts.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, dear.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye.